Well, in this time of uncertainty and unknowingness and whatnot, I've saw that a couple of my places close to home has really been pitching in during coronavirus. Of course, Queens College, as I posted the other day, donating thousands of masks and equipment to our local hospitals. As you know, Queens is one of the hardest hit areas right now. And then a little farther out in Albertson, Long Island, my very own high school, elementary school, pretty much livelihood for 13 years is giving back to the community as well. And the president of the HVS Alumni Association, Katie Weglikowski, my goodness, I've known you for about, 25 years? And finally getting you on this
Oh, goodness.
Finally getting you on the podcast. So thanks for joining.
Thank you for this amazing opportunity.
So tell us what the HVS alumni community is doing to help those in need and help the disabled community as well.
Well, what we have done, not only for the Alumni Association, but also for the current participants and of the center and the students at the Henry Viscardi School, we instituted a food pantry that is allowed to have people in need that are scarce of food supplies, and they can reach out to me and other people to set up a time where they can come in and get some of the supplies that they need. So
now, where can people find that? Because is there an email that they can reach out to? Is that taking place at Viscardi?
They can reach out to me, my email, or they can reach out to the head of the HR department, who is Jen Neff.
Well, that's great. Any emails, by the way, for those who are interested, for people to contact you?
Yes, they can contact me at my email, which is the letter K, and then my last name, which is Weglikowski, which is W-E-G, like in girl, L-I-K-O-W-S-K-I, at Viscardi Center, all one word, .org.
How important is it, Katie, that the community truly comes together in this time? I mean, we're always a close-knit group, but now especially. Tell us about the disabled community, how that can help people's spirits during this time.
Well, I find that a lot of times people with disabilities, even on a good day before this pandemic, can't get out of the house or because of transportation constraints or financial constraints. So now more than ever, in a time where anxiety is high and we're all just trying to fend for ourselves, the anxiety level of a person with disability is probably very, very high. So now more than ever, it's a time where we can all come together and band in the community and reach out to one another in an array of resources. That food pantry is just one of them. I also monitor the Facebook page, the alumni Facebook page, and where I try to post relevant news. Unfortunately, a lot of times these days the news seems very dim and dire, so I try to find relevant and interesting articles that might help pass the time for people during this coronavirus period.
It's interesting you mentioned the accessibility. Obviously, there are issues with Access-a-Ride and whatnot, and it gets frustrating trying to schedule commutes to and from places. But with Zoom playing such a role, and I know that this community has used Zoom to connect, could that be a way that if accessibility doesn't work out one day, that people are going to just decide, hey, let's Zoom it instead of try and coordinate everything? Like, how much of a role can Zoom play in this community?
I will try my hardest, and we will see what kind of resources we can use. What I'd like to see is happening is all of us have connections, and we're all like an interweb connection. So whether I will have the resources to help, I will find the appropriate people to help me with the idea and so forth. And if someone knows of somebody, that's how we can all stay connected. We are a melting pot, and we are the United States for a reason. And I feel that the Henry Viscardi Alumni Association is one collective family. We all can use our resources and our brains to come up with the idea together.
Now, Katie, you are working from home. I've had the privilege of being able to work from home despite being in radio as a producer every day in the city. Finally, at home away from the epicenter, which is New York. But do you know any of essentials that are still working, that are in the community, that they can use our support during this time, essential workers?
Essential workers, I don't know. Well, I have a couple family members that are police officers, but are you talking about disabled people?
Yeah, if there's any in the community that still are required to go to work
Not that I'm aware of.
during this time.
Everybody that I've spoken to has the ability to work from home, thank God. But I'm sure there are, and they could use all of our thoughts and prayers. And the number one thing is to echo what everybody else has been saying. If you have the opportunity to stay home, albeit it might be a total pain to do, please do it, because you're helping not only your health and the loved ones close to you, you're helping other people that you don't even know that you could be spreading germs to. And the longer we don't listen to these enforcement rules, it's gonna go on. So hopefully, by listening to the rules that the federal government implemented, we can help stop the spread of the virus and hopefully see the light at the end of the tunnel, sometime.
Well, as you know, and as the disabled community knows, Accessoride is always there. Do you know if they are having a special kind of thing during this time where if people do need a commute, they are still there for them?
I believe they are. I'm not exactly sure. I think they might have limited rides, or if you have to go to a doctor appointment, but they're not running rides for social gatherings, because we can't do that. We're supposed to be instilling the guidelines of social distancing. But I imagine they are still running rides for people that absolutely need it.
It is amazing when you think about it, how the hospitals are all jammed up, and taking care of our health it hasn't been as, every day is paramount, but this time taking care of our health is so important, especially because we have immune systems that are different, that are compromised. I mean, this is an important time to really take care of ourselves.
Yeah, I've always been a firm believer of taking care of yourself to the best of your ability, whether to eat right and exercise. If one cannot do that, that's totally understandable. But even just self-meditation helps calm the nerves and stress level and high blood pressure. So we can all do our part by taking care of ourselves, getting adequate amount of sleep. I know that's very hard these days with countless worry and stress, but taking care of ourselves and just doing the best that we can and being patient. I know that's very hard. It's very hard for me to do, but very patient, and just reach out to one another. If you know someone that's struggling with anxiety, maybe call them through FaceTiming. There's numerous classes that are being offered on Instagram and Twitter and so forth, like Zumba classes and meditation classes. So there are resources out there for able-bodied and disabled people as well to help monitor their stress and help pass the time.
Katie, there's no doubt. And by the way, I think the physical exercise is so important, especially because maybe getting outside is not that necessary right now. Even a walk around the block, you never know. Yeah. So the internal exercises, and I don't know if you've seen it, but I see everybody offering classes. It's kind of cool to see, actually, that they're offering these meditation, these yoga classes through the apps now.
Yeah, and there's Amazon and I think a bunch of other things that are offering either reduced rates or free rates for audio books or books. Netflix is, I've recently posted, Netflix is doing a streaming thing where you can do with multiple people from remote locations. They call it a Netflix party. So it is a healthy, nice distraction away from the dooming news that we hear every day. I'm a firm believer that you should stay in touch with the news, but maybe watching too much of the news is obviously going to bring up many of our anxieties. So find an activity that will, if you're an avid reader, read. If you can do some form of exercise, carve out a time to exercise, or do board games, or listen to music. I know music is a lifeline for me, so that helps.
Kate, oh, Katie, I know, and by the way, for those who may not know you, even though you're the president, give us a little bit about your likes. What do you like for music? What do you like to read? I know you also do podcast. You're into the podcast world too, which was pretty cool to find out.
Yeah, well, I like to, when everything was resuming to normal, I love to go to movies. I love trying new places and things, and I really am a big sports fan. I love going to hockey games, and I love going to country concerts and stuff, and seeing my friends as much as possible. And I also love volunteering. I volunteer for the Game for the Physically Challenged, and I believe in giving back, and I love where I work. Viscardi is my home away from home, and I've been there for 14 years, and I've had the pleasure of having this job since April, and it's been an absolute joy to have and stay connected to the community and help people understand how special and amazing this place is, and to give back to a place and a community that's given me so much.
Well, this is a thing that derailed everybody's lives, and unfortunately, Katie, we have been familiar with loss in this disabled community. To those who are not of this community but are experiencing this grief, this sorrow, do you have any from experience? How would you say people could cope with this? Maybe that they haven't heard a way we could cope with this during this time.
I would say, not to sound trite, but just try to find one sliver of happiness each day. Try to, this is not a funny situation, but try to put something positive on. Like I said, music is a lifeline for me. And turning on your favorite music can help you escape this. And always stay connected to each other. It's very important that you reach out to your loved ones. I do the best I can to reach out to the Viscardi community to see what everybody else needs. And, a lot of former alumni are doing Zoom chats to stay connected, which is very important. Because as I mentioned before, even on a good day, we might not be able to see each other as much as we like. So this is a time where technology is actually a huge plus in our generation. It's providing us an opportunity to virtually visit with one another and connect with one another that in a way that if we didn't have it, not saying we wouldn't be able to survive it, but I would say the situation might be a little dire for the rest of us.
Katie, medications have been kind of a big thing, and local pharmacies, it's still important that despite, with all the news we're hearing of the treatments for corona, we should not give up in getting our own medications, because we all need them still, no matter if they're not being talked about in the headlines.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you know any resources or anybody that might need that encouragement, but yeah, if don't be afraid of still taking your medications and asking the pharmacies in this time.
No, use your judgment wisely. Use the resources that are out there. There are helplines for mental health if you are struggling. But yeah, and the great thing about Viscardi is, like I said, we're one big family. So if one of us doesn't know the resources, all we have to do is write on Facebook or reach out to one of our friends, and I swear to you, it's like the telephone game. That person will tell that person, and sure enough, one of us will have the resources for one another.
Well, and I know that you were scooping me on the resources from the federal level, and I think people should know about that as well.
The federal, this stimulus package is going to help so many other people, the federal government is doing whatever they can to help all people in general, but many times the people with disabilities are overlooked, but I think there are resources out there. Social Security is still running its services, even though the offices nationwide are closed, so that should bring some comfort to people that are still need their services. I know some friends that are still having their PCAs come, and that's a risky thing, but they absolutely need it. And if you have family, then social distancing. But if you are living with family like I am, it is a blessing because then you don't need to worry about hiring anybody else and infecting them or stuff. So, yeah, there are limited, numerous resources out there for everybody, but particularly for people with disabilities.
Katie, one of the big things that you and I did, and our school has done over the years, is wheelchair basketball. And I didn't know that people could still look forward to, once it's all done, an HBS alumni basketball team. What is going on with that? I didn't even know about it until last night.
Yeah. So the former coach is Joe Salonica, and his fellow coaches have started with this idea of, I guess they have heard from numerous people that say, hey, we'd love to be able to still be active and play basketball, but there's no league for us because we don't fit into it, or the age requirement is such. So we had, before this whole fiasco started, my boss and I were in the process of meeting with the coaches to try to set up a first ever alumni basketball team. So unfortunately, that had to be put on hold because of the virus. But hopefully, once everything gets resolved and resumed, we plan to establish a time where we can commence that again.
And I'm sure you remember there were a couple moments that stand out to me in those years. Maybe you remember this. I passed you the ball and you shot and made the hoop. I mean, that at St. Charles, actually, that happened. And then Jeannie Oberg running down the line. I mean, it'd be good to recall those memories again.
Yes, of course. I've always had fond memories playing basketball, and it's a great opportunity to get the exercise that in the environment that we can get it, and to have all of our needs catered to us so that we can play just like everybody else. It was a fun time, and I remember playing with you. You were a fantastic player, and I don't know if I was as good as offensive player, but I was an okay defensive player. But yeah, I do miss it. And I'm glad that they're heading that up, and I look forward to the day where we can, resume the talks about that. But yeah, you should definitely, anybody who's interested should definitely check it out, and keep your eye out for information on the Viscardi Alumni Facebook page. And if anybody has any questions on how they can join the team, you please email me at that email address I gave you earlier.
Now, the community is probably going to be listening to this, so any updates you'd like to tell the entire community, current students, the administration? I mean, I know Reach for a Star has been rescheduled. Any bulletin points that you think we should mention due to coronavirus, but that will pick up in the fall?
Yes, so we are delighted to say that a headliner, Ali Stroker, who is the 2019 Tony Award winner, is able to be our headliner still for in October 15th at that's when the Reach for a Star luncheon is, and we are delighted because unfortunately because of the coronavirus we had to delay that, but we are delighted. And unfortunately our headline, another big fundraiser was the Celebrity Sports Night, was supposed to be May, but we had to delay that. But we look forward to 2021 being a greater and better year and healthier year for all of us.
Well, and I agree with you. And one other thought is the games play a huge role in our lives? That, of course, has been canceled. But any fond memories there? I just feel like now is the time to talk about memories because that's what we have to think about right now to distract us from the horror show we're seeing on our TV. So any fond memories you have of those games as well?
Oh, my gosh, yes. I've been in a competitor just like you for many, many years, and I've had so many wonderful memories of being on the track and field and playing wheelchair basketball with you and my other teammates and winning state championship. It brings back some memories, and I've been delighted to be a volunteer for the last decade. So it was absolutely heartbreaking that we had to cancel the games for the physically challenged. But like I said, for ensure everybody's safety and health, we had to do it, and we look forward to a greater and better games in 2021, just like we look forward to the celebrity sports night. And I also want to take the time to thank all the first responders and
Yes.
the doctors and the nurses and the thing, and even yourself to put yourself on the line to entertain us, and everybody that's my cousin, the police officer. So thank you to everybody that's putting their life on the line. They have no choice. Some people can't stay home. They have to make a living, and they're putting their life and their incredible effort and selfless on their part.
And by the way,
So
National
thank you.
Doctors Day was yesterday. So, I mean, what a time to honor them during this time, right? Wow. So, and
Yeah.
I've been reiterating what a councilman here in New York's been saying, which is we should have a parade down Canyon of Heroes for them, 1,000%. And bring in the international people too, because everyone around the country, with the resources and everything, it's amazing they're pulling off the way they are able to each and every night.
Yeah, and that's why it's imperative that we as a nation should do our part, and by doing our part is stay home, to wash your hands, social distancing. I know it's very very hard, because by this point you probably have beyond cabin fever, but find up, find something. There's courses online. You might start doing things you might not even have time. I'm finding myself doing things that I normally would love to do, but I'm just so, you know, packed with work, and by the time I get home, I'm so tired,
I know.
So I'm trying to do some of the things I said, oh yeah, I'll keep putting off and doing, and that's the one silver lining of this horrible, horrible time. It does afford. First of all, it forces you to look and be, grateful for what you have, especially when so many people are suffering and they lost their lives. And second of all, it's forcing you also to have time to, do things that you never did, and forcing you to engage with your family. And, that's actually not a bad thing. It's, you know, um, I try to look at the silver lining, and like I said, if there's anything I can do to help the disabled population, it's because I know people are really struggling. But if we all remember that we're all in this together, and it's not just happening to us, and remain to stay positive, do meditation, do journaling, even if that helps, or sing a song, or do whatever to help you take your mind off of this and stay connected as community.
And indeed, check in on your family, because you just want to make sure they're taking care of themselves as well. So that's kind of what we're all doing together. Now, a lot of these classes and everything, and some of them have even been offering discounts. If you haven't joined yet, you can join like these special classes. I think you graduated from Hofstra. I don't know if they're doing anything, but I'm sure they're pitching into this community as well.
Yes, I'm. That's my second home away from home, and that's an amazing school. And I'm sure I haven't looked into it myself, but I'm sure they're offering some of the services as well. And I don't know what college kids are doing these days. That's a very hard time. But I think that most schools are implementing distance learning, so at least they're staying active that way. And it's a crazy time for all of us, but I do believe that one day we're going to see the end of the tunnel. I don't know when.
Well, this is why I brought you on, because you know how to brighten the mood. I mean, it's always been that way for 20 plus years, and you're doing it once again here. So thank you
Thank
for this,
thank
these
you.
words of encouragement. And of course, please give the rest of your family. It's like they're my family too. We're all like family because we've grown up together all these years. So bless you
there's
and
no
your family.
place. That's why HB Henry Viscardi School and the center is unlike any place else. And I'm extremely blessed. I consider myself blessed every day to be chosen to head up such a wonderful organization. Has given me and you and so many others so much, and there's no place like that. And the sense of community and the sense of camaraderie and family, it's just absolutely amazing to see. And we owe it all to our founder, Dr. Henry Viscardi Jr., but we have an amazing president, Dr. Mr. Kempferer, and yeah, well, it's just amazing to be working at a place that's so accepting and does everything they can to for their employees.
Well, and I actually, now that you bring up Dr. Viscardi, I was just thinking, I mean, he would get us through this so well if he were here today, and I'm sure he's looking down at all of us through this, and we are eternally grateful for him. And know he's with us to this day, Katie.
Absolutely. And my class was the last class that actually got the senior speech, as you will, the talk, and his speeches, and I won't go on and on because I'll get too mushy and well up, but
go for it. I think people would love to hear what your experience was with that.
There's nobody like him, and his wife was amazing, and the family, and this guy was an inspiration and a pillar of strength for all of us. And you're absolutely right. I know he's shining down and looking at us and praying for us, and that's what we need. We need to just remember the good times, and you know, we've been through so much as a country, and we will bounce back. We are a very resilient people, and I think that's for people with disabilities are, you know, people underestimate us, and I think that's the thing. We are resilient, and now is the time to show people that we are resilient.
Well, Katie, I'll have to ask you next time what that message was, because I'm now wanting to know what his message was to your class. But if you don't feel comfortable doing that now, that's fine. We'll have you on for another time.
No, I can't remember exactly his words, and I would probably do his not justice to his beautiful words, but something like believe in yourself, and you know, and shoot for the stars, kind of thing, and don't let any limitations or disabilities stop you. That was the sort of essence of his message. It was more eloquently spoken than what I'm saying right now, but he's one of my heroes for sure, and I am forever grateful for him and what he's done for people with disabilities and starting up the Ability and Henry Viscardi School. And there's no place like that, and nobody else like him. So he is an exceptional human being.
He paved the way, and of course he paved the way in a time of another crisis, World War II, right after. I mean, he did this in Albertson, and look how it's grown. And through that, we can get through this crisis together. I truly feel that. So, Katie, thanks for sharing a lot tonight, and your wisdom and your encouragement, and we'd love to have you back.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you for this amazing opportunity, and thank you for everybody that's listening, and by all means, we all will get through this, and if there's anything I can do to help, don't feel free to reach out to me, and you know, when everything gets resumed and everything's running, anybody who's interested in taking a tour at the Viscardi Center to see the where Dr. Viscardi's office was, it's sort of like a museum that we sort of laid out. Please reach out to us at Albertson, in Albertson, at the Henry Viscardi School and Center, and we'd love to be able to share our piece of history with you.
Amen to that. Katie, thank you so much, and we will talk to you soon.
Thank you.
This has been Keeping It Real with Alexander Garrett.